Hey, how you doing? Hope you all are doing great. As you seen in the thumbnail, in this video, we are gonna see, what if Naruto got into harem with Mavis in Hotel Transylvania. This is part 2. And before getting into video, I request you to check the author of this fanfic, and show some love and support. Name of the story is, A Human in Hotel Transylvania by Mumi Mew. Do check it out. All details in description. And if you want next part of this series, please leave a like, share, and consider subscribe. Let's get into the video. Also check out Patreon for uncensored spicy content, link in description. The alarm went off before Mavis turned it off as she sit up with some stretch and she checked the calendar sleepily until he swiftly wake up fully when she see the certain date. Oh. Mavis grinned widely as she quickly take a shower and change into her regular attire before she step out into the hallway and lean slightly to the shrunken head on a certain door. Still sleeping? She asked. Yup. The head grunted out and the smiling vampire quietly entered the room, then tiptoe over to bed, her smile widen at the sight of her snoring son. Naruto, sweetie. Time to get up. Mavis shake Naruto's shoulder gently as the blonde slowly stir up with some groans. You need to get ready because everyone and the guests are coming today and for your big day. I'm up. Naruto slowly sit up with a big yawn, appear to be 18 and wear black pajama set with goofy bad nightcap. He let another yawn out as he rubbed some hands out of his eyes and his head turned up to his mother. Hey, Mom. Hello, Naruto. The vampiress kissed his cheek. Get ready and meet me and your grandpa in the lobby. Okay, Mom. The blonde get out of his bed with few stretches and his mother walk out with a smile. Nudge the left side up a bit. Dracula said as the zombie workers fix the birthday banner. Left, I said left. My left. A zombie FA.LL off the ladder with a yelp as the vampire facepalm with a exhale before he hear footsteps coming down the stairs and he look up to see his daughter. Oh, Mavis. How's my baby claws today? Dad, please don't call me that. Mavis blushed embarrassingly. I'm not little anymore, I'm too old for that. You're still a little girl to me. The vampire chuckled. Is the birthday boy up? Yup, he'll be down in 10. The vampiress nodded before she examined her surrounding. I love what you're doing to this place. There were a lot of balloons, birthday stuff and banner as she looked at the number. I still can't believe he's turning 18. I feel like he was 7 yesterday. I know how you feel. Dracula smiled down to his daughter until he heard the ringing telephone. Hold on. He went to answer the call. Hello. Yes, that is I. Say what? Zombies on fire. What village? His eyes widened as a flashback went off in his head. So you want us to build a fake village? A monster foreman asked the vampire. As the zombie workers slowly build something, a big village. Stores. Houses. The whole inches. Yes, I want you to build a decoy village. Dracula nodded, so I can send my daughter here when she turn 118, then scare her into believing that all human are evil. Oh, okay, the foreman glanced at his workers. Just to let you know, we have zombies building the village, and that will take many years to complete a village. I'm fine with that. The vampire laughed. My daughter is very stubborn like her mother. She want to visit human village and meet humans. There is no way. She'll change her mind and remain at the hotel where she will be safe forever. Huh. Oh. Dracula gulped before he clear his throat with waving hand. Just get rid of the village and come straight back here once you are done. He hang up and almost at same time, the entrance doors swing open as the guests enter. Oh, welcome to my humble and safest hotel. Thank you for coming. He quickly greeted his guests. Please take an itinerary at front desk. I have personally designed a spectacular schedule of events, all leading to my grandson's birthday extravaganza tomorrow. Suddenly, a sandstorm enters the lobby before a familiar monster pop up with goofy grin. Here comes the party. Murray shook his body with a cheer. Hello, Murray. The vampire smiled to his mummy friend. Drac, what's up, buddy? The mummy grinned and his friend looks around. The sand, Murray, the sand. Dracula sighed slightly annoyed as the mummy looked sheepish, always with the sand. Hi, Uncle Murray, where's Mokunai? Mavis asked with a smile. She's on her way. Murray replied before they hear some barking and they look over to see Wayne and Wanda walk in with many werewolves pups run around wildly around their feet. Wolfie. Hello, Wayne, Wanda. The older vampire chuckled before he tell the children to reel it in while his daughter greet the older werewolves. It's good to see you guys again. The vampiress smiled before she noticed something. Oh. I don't see Winnie. She's right behind us. Wayne pointed over his shoulder with a sigh as soon as his daughter walks in with bored expression, flipping through magazine in her hands. She appeared to be 18 and have slender athletic body. She wear a black crop top, with white skull, that end few inches above her belly, tattered tight black jean with pair of boots, few piecing on her ears. Short mohawk-like hairstyle and black polish nails. Winnie, can you please change into something else, more appropriate? Fuck off, old man. Winnie walked by him with a popping gum bubble. Suck it back and then chew it again. Ooh, I don't know where I went wrong here, the father sighed. Hey, cheer up. Murray threw his arm around the werewolf's shoulder. At Lee. Saint, your daughter is talking to you because mine don't. His daughter showed up with uncaring expression. Watch. Hey, baby girl, dig your look. I'm lovin' it, girl. Mokunai just gave him a talk to the hand gesture as she walked past the group without saying a word. She wear a off-the-shoulder black dress that ended her thighs, golden sandals and bunch of elegant jewelries. See. He grinned to Wei. Nay before he suddenly sobbed on his shoulder. Oh. My baby girl hate my guts. And I don't have a gut. So does my little girl. Wayne also sobbed on his shoulder and they hug each other as their family and friends just watch on with various expressions, mostly amused because they always went through that almost every time. Before they know it, three familiar faces show up together and Mavis immediately greets them. Frankie, Laguna, Sabella, it's good to see you three. The vampiress smiled to the said girls. Likewise. Sabella replied kindly, she has an attractive slender body with well-endowed bust and wears similar outfit but with low V-cut, red lipstick and green eyeshades. You look like you're doing well. Yo. Laguna waved, she have long wavy hair and appear to be very fit. She wear a dark pink small hoodie over gray loose t-shirt with fishnet sleeves, navy hot shorts with pink trim, a blue bracelet and pair of dark blue high-heel wedge sneakers. Hi, Mavis. Frankie said cheerily, is Naruto up or sleeping in as usual? She has long flowy hair with her bangs comb over her head and has slender yet curvy body. She wear a red lipstick, golden earrings, blue sleeveless shirt with white collar, several gray belts. Flora patterned skirt that ended her thighs and pair of black high-heel sneakers with yellow laces. He'll be down in few. Mavis replied. Where are your parents, Frankie? Dracula asked before the stack of boxes suddenly appear in middle of the lobby and the top box fall down with some grunts noise until a head flew out into the vampire's hands. Ah, Frank, my boy. He grinned down to Frank's head as the Frankenstein's monster grinned back, look at you. Still traveling by mail, Mr. Cheapo, huh? It's not a money thing. Frank said, I have a plane phobia, okay. I mean, at any moment. Those engine would catch on fire, yeah. The vampire chuckled before he suddenly tossed the head up with a yelp, who pinched me? Murray caught Frank's head before the grin. Mummy went to open the boxes to help putting his friend back together along with Eunice, who was complaining about the shipping. Guilty. The floating glasses appear with a chuckle, you're irresistible. Yes, very amusing. Invisible man. Dracula replied. Hello. Griffin snickered, great to see you. Never gets old. The vampire rolled his eyes. Hey, girls. Toru suddenly threw her arms around Frankie. Laguna and Sabella as they almost fall down but manage to support the invisible girl up. I totes miss you girls. She wear a pink and gray striped shirt with white hot shorts and white sneakers. We miss you too. Sabella smiled. We just saw each other, like, only 6 months ago. Winnie said dully, blowing her gum out. It feel like forever to me. The invisible girl pouted, I miss my girls and our eye candy. Some of friends rolled their eyes at her. Toru really liked to tease Naruto from time to time and always call him either stud or eye candy. I'm glad you all are here to see celebrate another birthday for my sweet little boy. Mavis smiled to her surrogate family and friends. And another successful year of refuge from them. Dracula said before he flew over to a projector screen then show some monsters picture of humans and make some silly accusation about current humans like getting fatter to overpower monsters and wear less clothing for more movement. Hey, guys. Naruto came down the stairs with a wave. Wearing an orange t-shirt, navy jean and pair of black sneakers. I'm glad you all are here, how was your trail? Hey, stud. Toru glomp him, I miss you so much. I miss you too. He hugged back with a chuckle before he released her to hug some of his friends. I bet you all are starving from long trip, I'm gonna get old hunchback to whip some foods up. He paused for a second. Hold on for a second, I'll whip some up for you guys instead. Naruto turned to look at his mother, is that okay? Yes, go ahead. Mavis shooed him with a smile, go catch up with your friends, B. Oot remember to meet us here in 30 minutes. So we can start our fun day. Okay, Mom. Naruto hugged his mother before he walked off with his friends and Mokunai gave him a quick sneak hug behind their friends. Drawing a small chuckle out from him. The vampiress stared at the group with some worry as they vanish around the corner. I hope my baby don't zing with one of them. I'm not ready for him to grow up yet, like her father. She has become overprotective of her son lately. It's going to be okay. Eunice patted her head, he will always still be your little boy. And if he has zinged with one of them, we should know. Wanda said and Mavis nodded slowly. I hope it's Sabella. Dracula think to himself, she's very sweet and kind girl that his grandson deserve, bonus, she's a vampire. Maybe it's Toru. Griffin hummed. His niece almost flirt with Naruto all the time and always jump for a chance to hang out with him. Or Laguna. The sea monster is very outgoing and he have say. And them hanging out almost as much as Toru does, she does have good chemistry with him. Please let it be my daughter. Wayne begged inside his head, with Naruto, she must revert back to my sweet little girl like she used to be. Single quote. Please make him zing with my baby girl. Murray crossed his fingers, knowing him, he will do something to make her to talk to me again. Plus, he's the only guy the first to prove to be with my baby girl. Gosh, I hope it's Frankie. Frank smiled, they look perfect together. Almost everyone turned sharply to him with various expressions, mostly gawking and glares. What? He raised his eyebrow at them. Okay, let get you all check in and go to your rooms. Dracula step in with nervous laughter before he beckons the bellhops to carry his guests' luggage up to IR rooms and he has Mavis helping out at front desk. Some time went by as Dracula look around in lobby, taking pride in his work and how relaxing his guests are. Perfect as always. The vampire smiled widely. And it'll be more perfect tomorrow. Nothing can ruin another successful year of my 5-star hotel. He suddenly froze with widened eyes as a figure entered the lobby through the revolving door and look around in awe. This figure is clearly a human. And the monsters don't notice its existence yet. Dracula quickly flew toward this human and he only have short time to look at its appearance. Whoa. The human said amazingly, appear to be a female and in late teenager or young adult. She's a tall skinny, yet attractive girl with long red hair that reaches to her hip, green eyes and freckles. She wear tan lumberjack hat, green flannel shirt over white tank top, blue jean, pair of muddy rain boots and she carry a largest oversized backpack. That is she never get a shonk. To finish her sentence when Dracula tackle her into the revolving door, spinning around faster. Who are you? Dracula questioned her alertly and worried, and how did you find this place? I'm Wendy Corduroy. The human said relaxingly with half-lidded eyes as if she's not bothered by the whole thing. And I was just mountain climbing with some dudes, and heard this story about a spooky forest. She shrugged. And who's not going to go into a spooky forest, right? So, then I see these goofy-looking dudes on fire. And Elle just kind of followed them to this, amazing castle. Fire. The vampy. Ree was confusing until he remembers something. Oh, and one more thing. The monster foreman said to the vampire, no bonfire. No fireworks. No fire. Because that would attract some attentions and you don't want to lead humans back if that happens. Okay, get it. Dracula waved it off with a snort. I would never set the fake village on fire, neither lead humans back to the hotel. How many of you are there? Dracula hissed with widened eyes. Just me. Wendy replied, solo backpacking. I'll like to hit it alone. You meet so many awesome people in the youth hostels. She grinned, hey, speaking of awesome. That cape thing is killing it. Is there, a costume party here? Or are you guys, real monsters? That's pretty cool. Because back home, we have a lot of weird things going on What have L done? The vampire said to himself, not hearing her last sentences. This is all my fault. You have to leave. He tried to push her outside until he noticed more guests heading toward the hotel. Oh, no. The vampire threw his cape around the human as he pushed her inside, then through the crowd while looking around for any place to hide this human. Excuse me, he said to some guests. As he pushed through them, and there were some guests coming up to him to ask about something, which he managed to redirect them to Mavis for answers. He managed to avoid Griffin by knocking his glasses off, and the vampire swiftly hid the human and himself inside a supply closet. Wow, the human girl said sarcastically, this room's kind of small for a big castle. No bed, but check out these awesome dustpans they give you. Quiet, you fool. Dracula snatched the backpack from her, then dig around inside. What weapons are you keeping in this container? Your pitchforks. He pulls out an shirt, then gag as soon as the stench reach his nose. L can't breathe. It's killing me. Yeah, definitely due for a fluff and fold. Wendy took it back with a nod. What is this? He took out an iPod with earbuds, a torture device. A secret mind controller. You won't read my thoughts. L won't let you. Dude, it's just music. She pushed earbuds into the bewildered vampire's ears. Here, try it. She play the music. It's taking my soul. Dracula screamed out, yanking buds out of his ears. What? Wendy arched her eyebrow at him amusingly. It's a good jam. Don't be a grandpa. You need to go. His face invades her personal space, then he stands straight up with index finger up in air. No human has ever entered this castle. And if someone should see you, the safety of the hotel, the sanctuary, no one would ever come again. Yeah, go for it. She pumped her fist. Ever come again. I love your Dracula voice. It's so over the top. And Mavis, Dracula said before the door opened to reveal Mavis, causing him to yelp out from startle. Daddy, why are you in closet? Mavis raised her eyebrow at him before she noticed someone else. And who are you? She gasped with widened eyes. A human. Hey, Wendy waved and vampire swiftly pulls his daughter inside, closing the door with a slam. Don't freak out, Mavis. Dracula hissed to his daughter, Daddy'll take care of that. How? The vampiress hissed back lowly, there is a human in our hotel. A human? Other than Naruto. Who's Naruto? The human girl glanced between them, a roommate. I don't mind sharing, I mean I have bunch of brothers. You need to get her out of here right now. Mavis gritted her teeth, or I'm going to. I can't kill her. Dracula muttered under his breath as his growling daughter glared hateful at Wendy. It would set monsters back hundreds of years. He notices that Wendy was babbling on about something. What are you babbling about? Seriously, I'm totally digging your costumes. Wendy glanced at their appearances. Until you're real, that would explain things. Costumes, the vampire blinked, then share look with his daughter before they look around in the closet and they turn back to the redhead. What? Wendy raised her eyebrow at them. Mavis peek out behind the closet's door, all clear. Go, go. The vampires step out with Wendy, who wears a oversized jacket, tall stick-up wig, and her skin have been painted green with some crude, stitch, drawings. Dracula, I need to talk to you about the party foods. Quasimodo appeared. Yes, what is it? Dracula screeched, subtly shooing his daughter behind his back, and the vampiress pushed Wendy toward the revolving door. Did he call your dad Dracula? Wendy asked her curiously, does that mean your dad is Dracula, like, the Dracula? Shut up, Mavis hissed angrily. Nice. The redhead whistled unfazed. I bet you're awesome like your old man. And the vampiress accidentally tripped Wendy over a suitcase, and the redhead ended up grabbing a witch's broom before it took off, dragging the yelping redhead up in air. Whoa, whoa. Wendy screamed out as she zoomed around in the lobby while knocking things over. How do you break this thing? What's going on? Naruto jogged into the lobby. I hear some crashing. The screaming redhead accidentally crashed into him, knocking him off his feet and the broom fly away as both teenagers groan out in pain. Ow, sorry. Wendy stumbled up to her feet with and on her head before she reached down to him. You alright, dude? It's okay, I'm fine. The blonde grabbed her hand to get up. It'll take more than Rouge Broom to. He looked into her eyes. Keep me down, unknown to them. Their eyes flashing pink before they blink rapidly. Hey. The The redhead can't help but to grin dumbly until she realized something. Oh, sorry. My name's Naruto. Sweetie, are you alright? Mavis quickly appeared at their side, fussing over her son worriedly. Yes, I'm okay, Mom. Naruto replied, kind of feel something weird. Mom. Wendy blinked between them. Adopted. The blonde chuckled as the redhead blinked again before he turned to his mother. Who is that? Who is what? The vampiress asked him before he pointed to the redhead. Oh, that is nobody. Really, Mom? Naruto put hands on his hip with raised eyebrow. Oh, they are real monsters. Wendy snapped her fingers in realization. Cool, but isn't he a human too? Okay, we got to go. Dracula pop up. We need to get. He immediately see his grandson, Naruto. Hello. Hi, Grandpa. The blonde chuckled puzzlingly at his sweating grandpa. What get you all bothered? Did Bigfoot clog the toilet again? I totally know it, Bigfoot is real. The redhead smirked before she looked up to Dracula. So you don't really drink human blood? Human blood is so fatty, and you never know where it has been. Dracula huffed at classic human paranoid. We drink blood substitute. Anyway, who's she? Naruto asked, new guest. I'm Wendy, the redhead said before the vampires cut in. Wendestein, Mavis said hastily. And she's the party planner. The vampire sweated before both vampires froze, then turned to each other. Wendestein. Party planner. The vampiress hissed under her breath. Oh, so you're here to planning my birthday party. The blonde turned to the redhead. Cool. Nice to meet you. Do you want to hang out? For sure, Wendy grinned before Dracula quickly pulled the redhead away from him into the corridor. We're off to make some good plan for your birthday. Naruto, my boy. Dracula laughed nervously over his shoulders and Naruto turned to his mother with a raised eyebrow. What's up with Grandpa and you? He asked. Oh, Ma. This suddenly drags him in other direction. We have to do some interview with the bands and pick out what you like to play for the party tomorrow. So, Naruto leaned over the comfy bench's headrest to look at his childhood friends. Why are uncles fighting Mozart, Beethoven and Bach? He glanced to the zombie musicians getting attacked by Frank, Griffin, Murray and Wayne. They're just being moronic clowns. Mokunai buffed her nails. Fucking idiot. What she said. Winnie popped her gum, cutting into the table with her index claw to drawing a skull pattern. They want to practice their number but the musicians refused to get off the stage, so Laguna chuckled as Frank swung sax at Bach like a baseball bat. Listen to that, you deaf bastard. Murray smashed a drum set on Beethoven's head. Can you hear it? Can you? No, bad dog. Bad dog. Mozart whacked a flute on Wayne's head as the werewolf gnaws on his leg bone and Griffin was holding him in headlock. Oh, dear. Sabella watched on with some concern. Maybe I should step in and try to calm them down. Not yet. Toru held her arm out to block the vampire. It's starting to get fun. Anyway, I heard from Dad that your grandpa hired a party planner for your birthday. Frankie looked up to the blonde. Have you met her yet? Yeah, I did. Naruto said. She looked pretty nice and chilling, but I don't know much because we just met for couple minutes. He hummed. I hope I see her again sooner. I have a good feeling you won't see, Mavis said before the wall part away to reveal Dracula and Wendy as they blink at the fighting monsters. Wah. She turned around. Oh. Naruto. Let's go. She blinked at empty space before she turned around to see her son approaching the redhead while Dracula asked his friends why they were fighting. Hi, Wendestein. The blonde smiled widely. Oh, hey, Naruto. Wendy smiled back before she jabbed her thumb at the bands. Still looking for bands to jam up for your b-day? Yeah. Naruto replied amusingly, due to her word's choice. Everyone wants to do it old school, but my friends and I want something a little more new school, you know. Yup, I get you. The smirking redhead nodded with crossed arms. I can reek 'em. ND some sweet music and see if it can get your groovy going. I bet you get a lot of ideas since you're a party planner. He chuckled. Oh, right. Wendy nodded after a short pause. Dracula have informed her that humans, beside Naruto, are unwelcome in this place because the monsters fear them and that bring up some questions. The redhead decided to play along with it, for now. Say, your birthday is tomorrow, right? How old will you be? 18. Naruto answered. Nice, I'm 19. The redhead grinned. Say, may I ask you something? The blonde tapped his chin curiously. Any relation to Frankenstein's monster? Oh, I'm the Frankenstein's monster. Wendy lied. No, you're not. Naruto chuckled before he pointed to the real monster as he punched Bok's head off. My uncle over there is the Frankenstein's monster. Oh, this big gentleman over there. The redhead blinked. She met him with the others early and didn't know that he is the Frankenstein's monster. I'm his cousin. Really? Frank immediately appears near them with a raised eyebrow as his friends approach behind them. Yup, my right hand is cousin of your right arm. Wendy came up on spot. Whoa, really? The Frankenstein's monster lift his hand up as it wiggled before he grinned widely. Nice to meet you, arm cousin. Dad, why is she still here? Mavis zoomed up to her father's side with a low hissing whisper, her brows furrowed angrily. I thought you were going to smuggle her out. Well, why you see, Dracula giggled nervously under his daughter's fury as his hands kept pointing at random things. IWWW was going to be but we ran into them so, we went into the escape tunnel, but, he turned around few times, we got lost. But it's not my fault because it have been long time since I went down there. Not to mention, and how confusing things can get with all secret switches, I mean, how many do we have? He pointed to the redhead as she chatted with his friends and Naruto, and she doesn't want to leave without her backpack. So, his daughter grabs his collar to pull him down to her eye level. I don't care about some stupid backpack. The vampiress hissed with bloodshot eyes, get this stupid human girl out of here immediately. The longer she stay here, the more risky it get. She turned her head to the redhead, and she'll end up hurting my little baby. Okie dokie. The vampire gulped nervously, his little girl Sue. Reed take after his father and that's a little scary. Alright, guys, show me what you get. Wendy clapped her hands as she looked to Dracula's friends and they start playing music for few minutes. She cupped her chin with a hum. I find your musical talents pretty good, but it's kinda little old school. Can I borrow that? She gestured to Murray's guitar and the mummy handed it over to her. Then the redhead start to play a rock song. Which draw crowd and impress most at same time. Woo, thank you very much. She grinned to the applauding monsters before she turned to Naruto, so what do you think of that? I think it's really amazing. Naruto said, I really can't wait to see what you set up for the party tomorrow. You should join and help us out with music. Murray grinned. And games. Griffin nodded. And foods. Wayne grinned. Everything. Frank agreed and many monsters want her to help them out with certain stuffs until Dracula pop up between Wendy and the group. Guys, do I have to remind you all that we have a schedule to follow? Dracula said, it's almost time for. Relax, Grandpa. Naruto cut him off with a light chuckle, we still have some time before the first activity. He turned to the redhead, hey. Wendenstein, you should join us. Most monsters agreed with him, what do you say? I'm totally in. Wendy grinned as she threw her arm around his shoulder and they walk away with some monsters. Chatting a bit about upcoming activities. Great, the vampire deadpanned with groan before he turned to face his fuming scowling daughter, I'm working on it. Mavis turns around then stomp away from him with crossed arms. With the humans, Naruto led Wendy to his friends at table and his friends look at their close contact with different expressions and emotions. Wendenstein, those are my best friends. He introduced each girl, that is Winnie, Sabella, Laguna, Toru, Mokunai and Frankie. Guys, that is Wendenstein. Hey, how's it going? The redhead raised her hand up to them. Yo. Toru replied. Hi. Winnie grunted with a soft growl and Mokunai just swat her hand uncaringly as her greeting. Hey, ghoul. Laguna greeted and Frankie waved with a smile. Hello, nice to meet you. Sabella smiled. You must be the party planner we have heard about. The redhead nodded, fantastic. I can't wait to see how you'll handle the party tomorrow. It'll be off the hook. Wendy grinned before her stomach rumbled loudly, causing everyone to look at her. Right, I forget I haven't eaten anything all day. She scratched her cheek sheepishly. I'll get you something from the kitchen. Naruto get up. You're fine with everything or? I'm good with anything, no allergies. The grinning redhead waves it off and the blonde nod at that as he walked to the kitchen before she turned back to the girls. So, how long have you guys known Naruto for? About 12 years altogether. The busty vampire tapped her chin with a thoughtful hum. Whoa, that long. Wendy whistled. Did you all meet him at same time or? Within a year. Sabella said as she gestured to her friends, we also met each other in this year. Cool. The redhead placed her chin on her hand with elbow on table. I bet you girls get some stories growing up here with Naruto. Totally. The invisible girl chirped. I have a funny story about how Naruto turned one of underground hall into a pool by flooding it for his prank. Oh, do tell. Wendy leaned closer with a eager smirk and the girls share some stories with some small talk in between. Bingo then charades. The redhead sprawling out on bencher with Naruto and his friends. I'm sorry, but that is boring AF. AF. Frankie tilted her head confusingly. Grandpa and Mom enjoy them so. Naruto rubbed his head with a shrug, also seems to be bored. Oh, hold on. Wendy dig into backpack that she finally get back from Dracula before she pull out a folded scooter, flick it open then perform some tricks and several monsters gather in front of her with fascination. She let Hem try it out and it was pretty hilarious to Naruto when Murray ride it around like tricycle to Mokunai's chagrin and Winnie's young siblings pile on it then the Bigfoot try it out, only to fall on a zombie server. It ends when a elderly female gremlin ate it. I don't do it. The gremlin smiled innocently. Good thing I have a spare. The redhead said flatly before she laughed with her new friends. Aren't you going to do something about her? Mavis hissed to her father furiously as they stand at the poolside while Mr. Fly led an aquatic exercise class. She is still here. She glared at laughing redhead as she chat with Naruto and some of their friends. I'm working on it. Dracula replied. Yeah, right. The vampiress grumbled, if you don't do anything about it sooner then I'll take it into my hands. I'll have her out by morning. The vampire shushed her with his swaying hands, trust your daddy. His daughter inhaled deeply then snatched a sandwich from a waiter's tray, tearing it in half with her teeth while glaring at the redhead heatedly. And I have been to Taj Mahal. Wendy was telling them about her backpacking travel. Wow, that sounds very amazing. Naruto said with me nodding monsters before he paused for a second. What's Taj Mahal? It's one of the famous place in the world and it's in India. The redhead explained simply, it's really beautiful that I can't put it in words. You should have go there and see it. Out there. The blonde blinked with some worries before he rubbed his neck. I'll think about it. If you're going for it, let me know. Wendy put her hand on his shoulder. I'll come with you and show you some sweet spots in India. Together. Her comment draws a smile from him. She's awfully getting too close with him. Winnie popped her gum wit. Narrowed eyes as she sit at other table with her friends. I don't like it. I don't see it. Frankie said, they're just talking and be friendly. She watched Wendy tease Naruto about something as he blushed lightly, very friendly. I'm jealous. Toru said bluntly, my cute stud is getting all chummy with some strangers. Yup. Laguna muttered. Oh, don't be like that, girls. Sabella smiled to other girls. I'm certain your imagination is getting ahead of you. Take a look at them and say that to us. The sea monster pointed out, you haven't looked at them since we sit down. The busty vampire averted her eyes. You're all being so overdramatic. Mokunai fixed her hair up with her handheld mirror nonchalantly. It's not the first time that some girl flirt with him and it won't be the last time. She glanced to her friends dully. I mean, most of us have flirt with him from time to time. There was a loud pop and several stutters. It's no secret to each other that they have feeling for Ir only male friends since they are very close. No way. Wendy laughed at the blonde's story. You actually shave Wayne bald and honey and feathered him. Yeah, I did. Naruto chuckled, and after that, I dumped paint all over Griffin in front of everyone. Let's say I traumatized some guests after that. He paused to chuckle again. Boy, I was really wild one back then. Well, not wild as, the redhead. Spot Dracula from the corner of her eyes and the vampire was telling her something with gestures and mouthing. The vampire was telling her to fake a back injury and come to see Dracula for some party plan but of course. Wendy have no idea what he was saying and there was some miscommunication. Chicken fight. What chicken fight? The blonde raised his eyebrow with some guests before he looked around. Did the chickens escape again? Chicken fight. Wendy stood up with a wide grin before she grabbed Naruto's hand then pulled him toward the pool. Come on. We're gonna have fun playing chicken fight. Her hand is so warm and soft. Naruto blushed as she held his hand. He don't know why he want to get close to her as fast as he can or his heart was beating faster, neither why his eyes kept look to her rear. The red one-piece swimsuit fill her body out. The teenagers jump into the pool and before he know it, the redhead lift him up with her shoulders. Guys, copy us. The redhead hollered out to the monsters, we're playing chicken fight. The one on top have to push other top guy off, you lose if you fall in water. The monsters stared at each other before they eagerly start the game. Naruto, push this guy back. She gestured to the players in front of them, do it, do it. The blonde push a monster guest back as the creature fall into water with a laughter and she hold her hand out, alright, gimme low 5. That is kind of fun. The laughing blonde smack her hand then pushing other person off while his partner support him up until he get pushed back into the water before he suddenly lift the log. Hing redhead up on his shoulders and the monsters wrestle with each other in the pool, laughing and enjoying the new game. No, no, stop. Dracula waved his arms frantically as he looked at the pure chaos in horror, halt this game. You're going to get hurt. I commend you to cease immediately. Someone splash water all over him and he looks unpleased by that until his eyes widened as soon as he noticed that Wendy's paint was slowly wash off. Before he know it, the vampire fall into the pool and he spot the plug on floor before he swim toward to it then pull it out, draining the water. There. He fought his head out of the water as it went down. Wendistein, I need you for. He looked around puzzlingly. Wendistein. Cannonball. The vampire looked up sharply to see Wendy jumping off the high diving bow. Arden he want to know how the hell did she get up there so fast. The vampire froze the human girl in midair then push a blob monster under her before he snap his fingers, causing the redhead to land inside the blob monster. Come on, Wendistein. Dracula yank her out of the blob monster, get change and, help me planning the party. He drag the redhead out of the pool zone and Naruto get out pool as he shake some water out of his hair, looking over some guests to look for his new friend. Naruto, it's time for dinner. Mavis jumped into his view with a big smile, I made your favorite foods and everyone are joining us. Really? Naruto looked down to his mother with a grin, even Wendistein. No. The vampiress shouted angrily as her son jumped up before she quickly cleared her throat with sweet gentle expression, I mean, no. Sweetie, she can't join us for dinner because she still have to work on your party. Oh, okay, the blonde said somewhat disappointing as he pick a towel up to dry himself off and his mother catch it. What's wrong? Mavis asked worriedly. Nothing. Naruto waved it off. It don't sound like nothing. She moved in front of him to look into his eyes, you can tell your mommy anything. Please tell me what's wrong. Well, I was hoping to invite Wendistein to our dinner. He said, I want to hear more about her adventures. More about, he hummed softly, her. Mavis bit her lower lip nervously. Do you, like Wendistein? Do I like her? Naruto repeated her question thoughtful, I think so. She's fun, cute and pretty. He never noticed his mother cringed. I want to spend more time with her and I don't know why, it feel like, we clicked, you know what I mean. I see, the vampiress mumbled, well, it's quite shame that she won't join us for din. She led her son to the hotel as she wrestled with herself internally, but she's a evil human who will hurt my baby boy like the others. Mavis sneaks a glance at her son, and what if she'll take him away from me? I can't let that happen. I can't let my son rejoin the humans. My baby have to remain here, he's safer here. She will do everything to protect him from any harms and women. After dinner, Naruto was wandering around outside the hotel in cemetery until he spot a familiar red hair in distance and his eyes lit up. Wendy was pacing around with a grumble, can't believe Drac kicked me out for living everything up. The place was dead and would have get more deader if I haven't show up. Hey, Wendistein. Naruto pop out behind the tree, causing the redhead to jump up with a yee. LP before she glare at him playful with pout as he laughed. Not funny, you almost give me a heart attack. Wendy smacked his arm playfully. Heart attack, good one. The blonde laughed again as the Edhead blinked confusingly until she remembers she's disguised as Frankenstein's monster. Anyway, what bring you out here? Just taking a walk. The redhead replied, you. Same. Naruto said before he snapped his fingers, oh. I get to show you something cool, come on. He beckoned her to follow him back to the hotel and she followed without any hesitance. Where are we going? Wendy asked curiously. You'll see. Naruto smirked before he climbed the stone wall all the way up to the rooftop, following by the redhead, and they walked to a spot on roof near a chimney. What do you think? He gestured to the landscape. Oh, wow. The redhead looked at the sight in amazement. It does look beautiful to her, and forest reminds her of her hometown. Nice, right? The grinning blonde sit down as the redhead sit down with a nod. My mom took me up here when I was little and I come up here from time to time since then. That's lovely. Wendy replied before she tilted her head at him curiously. So, how does a human ku end up raised by vampires and living in a monster-only hotel? If you don't mind me asking. My mom found me in forest when I was 6 and took me in few weeks later. Naruto answered. What were you doing out in woods? She asked. You don't know. He looked at her with a surprised blink. I thought most monsters know about that by now. Wendy raised her eyebrow puzzlingly. Oh, Naruto rubbed his neck awkwardly with uneasy expression as if he was debating with himself internally. You don't have to talk about that if you're not up for it. Wendy placed her hand on his shoulder when she noticed his discomfort. But it's okay. Naruto placed his hand atop on her hand with a small smile. It's just, I really don't talk much about it with anyone, but my mom and my friends only know a bit about it. He sighs out. When mom found me, I was dying and should have died if she hasn't. A mob of humans were harming and beat me with many things, then leave me there for dead. Before that, they kept me in a small dark room for who know how long, starving, and beat me around from time to time until this day. He paused to take a breath as the redhead listens quietly. Mom nursed me back to health. And she gives me a childhood that I never thought I'd never have. Since then, I have been living here my whole life and the rest is history. Wow, the redhead uttered. She really has no idea what he went through and she doesn't want to ask him more details about it. That kinda explain everything. Now she understand why Mavis hate her. Wendy is not an idiot because she have noticed Mavis' glares and behavior toward the redhead. What happened to these humans who hurt you? I don't know. Naruto replied. And you never leave this place, right? Wendy said. Do you ever think about going out there? Like at all? Sometime. But, he wet his lips, the humans. Not all humans are bad, you know. The redhead said, you're a human and a good one, so that mean there are more like you out there. If any bad humans try to have problem with a good human, they'll get arrested or be punished for it. Really? Naruto tilted his head to her. Yup. Wendy reached inside her pant pocket, and if you're going out there, you can see, she pull out a odd flat device then show him pictures of some places. That is the Great Pyramid of Giza. She swipe her finger on the screen to change a picture, and that is London. Here is the Big Ben. And that is Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. Whoa. The blonde looked at the pictures amazingly before he looked over the strange device. And what is this flat thingy? How do you change photos like that? Magic. Mini projection. You have never seen a smartphone before. The redhead turned her head to face him with an amusing smirk. She's not really surprised to hear that from him because everything in this hotel are so old school, like they come from 50s, give or take. Smartphone. Naruto turned his head to her puzzlingly. How can you make a phone smarter? Technology. Wendy replied as she glanced at his lips. Their faces were too close. There's a whole new world out there. Yeah. He uttered as his head slowly leaned closer to her. Yeah, she smirked, moving her head forward slowly and they were about to kiss but, whoa. Wendy suddenly falls down through the roof and Naruto blinked rapidly before he looks inside with concern. To turn some time back, Mavis as sitting in a female sauna room with Naruto's friends and she was covering her face with some mumbles. The vampires really have no idea how to handle the news and what to do in this situation. Ends Wendestein is going to be done with party planning. Laguna asked curiously, I want to hang out more with her. Yeah, she's really wild in a fun way. Toru agreed, not to mention all stories she get. And it's really nice to see Naruto hitting it off well with her. Sabella said, who's hitting what off? Mavis lifted her face up from her hands. No, please. She snorted, I am not going to hand him off to someone else, and if I do, Naruto could never be with someone of her kind. Her kind. Frankie looked at the older vampiress appallingly. I'm sorry, what? I'm not awakened that you have some issues with. No, no. I meant, the black-haired vampiress waved her hands frantically as soon as she realized that Wendy is disguised as a monster. Naruto wouldn't be into someone with red hair. Wah, the invisible girl gasped, excuse me. What's wrong with red hair? Why are you so upset? Mavis asked. Because I have red hair. Toru half shouted. How should I know? The Ravenette vampiress threw her hands up, you're invisible. Unknown to her, her father was going through similar experience with his friends in male sauna room at the moment. She waved her hands. Anyway, it's pointless to think about that now because Wendestein left. She left. Mokunai raised her eyebrow lightly. Yes, she decide she don't like. Mavis shrugged her shoulders before Wendy suddenly fall down on floor from the CE. Illing and everyone looked down at the groaning redhead as she sit up. Wendy looked around with hand on her head before she give Mavis a sheepish grin. Hi. Guess she changed her mind. Winnie blew he. Argum and Mavis stared at redhead blankly with tight frown. The redhead was pushed out of the sauna room into Dracula's hands and the furious vampire have no choice but to have the redhead help him out with tables in dining hall. Dracula run down the hallway with desperation. He was having fun with Wendy in the dining hall with the flying tables until Quasimodo kidnapped her under his nose and he have to stop the mad hunchback before it's too late. He turned around the right corner and farther until he nearly collided into someone before he looked down to see Naruto. Dracula gasped in surprise as the said teenager blinked at him. Why are you still up? The sun is out. You usually sleep until nighttime. Can't sleep. Naruto shrugged his shoulders before he looked up to his grandpa. Do you know where Wendestein went? I don't know. The vampire stuttered. He paused for a moment before his brow arched with suspicion. Why do you want to know? Oh, the blonde scratched his head bashfully. Well. Do you like her? Dracula asked. First mom, now you. Naruto coughed into his fist. You guys kept asking me if I like her. Well, maybe. She's so funny, adorable and pretty. The vampire holds his hand up to him. Hold that. He quickly whispers something to the living armor suit then back to his grandson. Look, Sonny, there's no falling in love at your age. That's what your mother would say. Grandpa, you and mom know at some point, I'm going to get married. The blonde said, and I can't be here forever. What? Dracula uttered, but why all the sudden interest? Every time we used to talk about love, it was always, ooh. Grandpa, that's gross and, ooh, grandpa, girls have cooties. Actually, you push me off to mom like almost all the time. Naruto chuckled lightly as he remembers first time he asked his grandpa about Zing and he always tells him to ask Mavis. Oh, right. The vampire muttered with shifty eyes before he leaned closer to the whispering armor suit before he turned back to his grandson. I'm sorry. Sonny, I have to go. He ran off, leaving the confusing blonde behind. Okay. Naruto shrugged before he resumes his wandering. Phew, Wendy breathed out. She can't believe that she almost got cooked by a crazed hunchback chef until Dracula come to her rescue and after that, Dracula show her the picture of Lady Lubov, who turned out to be his wife, and the true story behind the Lubov legend. Their conversation was pretty heavy then she thought then they share some jokes to light things up. At least Dracula decide to let her stay for one more day so she can be at Naruto's birthday party. Speaking of party, I wonder if they have some fireworks around. She hummed until she turned around the corner to see Mavis and the vampiress stare squarely into her eyes. Oh, hey, Wendy flicked her index finger to opposite hallway. I'm going this way so I'll be. You. Mavis inhaled deeply then exhales out heavily before she spin around on her heels as she walked down the hallway. Come with me. To where? The redhead followed her. If it's to send me out, your old man gives me permission to stay here until after party. I know. The vampiress said flatly and said nothing else for a while until they enter a room. Where are we? Wendy asked, glancing around at what appeared to be a luxury bedroom. Your room. Yes. Mavis take a thick album from a bow. Oakshelf then put it next to folder on table before she sit down in a chair as she turned to the redhead. Sit down. The redhead obeyed her because she doesn't want to anger the vampiress any farther. Take a good look at these pictures. Mavis opened the album then take some pictures out, tossing them over to the redhead, and Wendy examined them to discover that they were childhood photos of Naruto. Each picture have little boy hide behind, cling to or hugging Mavis tightly. "Ah, is that Naruto when he's little?" The redhead cooed, "He's so cute, look like he's a very shy boy back then, huh? Is that what it looked like to you?" The vampiress replied stoically. Wendy blinked at her, then looks closer to the pictures before she gives the vampire a nod. "Yeah, he looked pretty shy. He was very afraid and scared of everything." Mavis growled as she leaned up on table, "And that is all because of you evil humans." She opened the folder to reveal Naruto's medical chart with picture of a bandaged B. Oi in medical bed. To the shocked redhead, "You all did horrible, horrible thing to my sweet innocent boy, and I will never forgive you humans for that. I make a promise to my son that I will never let another human hurt him again, and I intend to keep it." Her eyes flashed red as she bare her fangs. "I will not let you hurt him, not again." "Whoa, whoa." The redhead held her hands up, "Like I would do that. Just because some humans attacked him does not mean all humans are evil and out to get him. I'd rather be dead than hurt him." Mavis smashed her fist on table with a snarling hiss. "Really, there are good humans. Your son is a human, right? Does that make him evil?" "No, he's a good person, and that mean there are good ones out there. I mean, you have some good monsters and bad monsters, and you can't judge a whole race for one's act. Right? It's pretty much same like humans. Whoever did that to him should be arrested and judged for their crime." The vampire kept growled with gritted teeth. "I really mean it. I would never ever hurt him because she take a deep breath, I love him." "You," the vampiress inhaled with a hiss before she suddenly plopped down in her chair with a sharp sigh. I, her breath become shakily. "I can't let my son leave, he's safe here." "I get it, you want to protect your son," Wendy said. "I'm pretty sure that what happened to him will never happen again because can why? Oh, you say that when the humans find out that one of their own kind have been raised by monsters, or that he will never be in danger from humans." Mavis looked up to her sadly with some concern. "Can you redhead opens her mouth before she close it. "Yes, that's what I thought," she sighed. "Look, while you seem to be a decent human, I can't let my son leave the hotel where he can be safe for the rest of his life. I want my baby to stay here with me and everyone, his family." "I get it." The redhead nodded solemnly. "Family gotta stick together through everything. I got that, it's same with my family." She licked her dry lips. "I'd never do anything to affect his decisions." "You sure?" The vampiress gazed at her as the redhead nodded before she sighed out. "All right, fine, I will try my best not to give you some hard time while you spend some time with Naruto and have fun at his party." "Thank." Wendy smiled lightly as she closed the medical folder. "Say, can I take a look at some photos in this album?" She's very curious about how her crush grow up with a monster family in a hotel. "Sure." Mavis tucked the photos back into her album, then allows the redhead to flip some pages to look at some more pictures. Winnie applied black eyeshadow to her face as she ignored her howling siblings and screaming parent in background, wearing a goth raving outfit. Frankie, Laguna and Toru gossip while tossing some clothes over their shoulders, picking their outfits out and complimenting each other on their choosing. Behind them, Frank stared at huge pile of clothes in shock because it reached to his hip level and kept growing, which make the Frankenstein's monster wonder how much he had paid for. Mokunai pose in front of mirrors, swaying her white and black mini dress with gold trims, and Murray AR behind her with a double thumb up before his daughter swat his face with her hair, then she walk away with her nose up in air. Teenagers. Murray sighed with slumped shoulders. Sabella apply red glossy lipstick to her mouth, wearing a red backless dress with short legs slit. The rock music blares loudly as the monsters dance to the beats and enjoy the party that Wendy has set up. "You girls look really good," Naruto said to his friends after spotting his mother dancing with Dracula and their friends. "Frankie, you always look really good and cute in blue." Thank. Frankie giggled. She wear a sparkly blue dress with yellow belt, blue ribbon that holds some of her hair in bun, and high heel metal wedge shoes. "Laguna, you really look nice with this dress because it sure is you, and yo. You put a lot of work in straighten your hairs out." He pointed out to Laguna's straight hair. "Thank, glad you notice it." Laguna smirked happily with a faint blush. She wear pink, black, and green dress with pattern of octopus from top to middle, that end at her inner thighs, pink starfish necklace and red high-heel shoes with tentacle-like coil up her shins. Mokunai, very regal and divine as always. Naruto chuckled. HMPH. The mummy looked away with light blush, crossed her arms. Sabella, you look very delightful in this red dress. He said, new dress. Thanks you and yes, it is. Sabella smiled kindly, you look very Han. My turn, my turn. Toru cut the busty vampire off with bouncy steps, tell me how I look. She wear a tight black minidress with backless low V. You look very stunning. And beautiful that I don't need my eyes to know it. Naruto chuckled again and the invisible girl squealed excitingly, if anyone can see her face, it'll be very red. He turned to Winnie, I dig your looks. It's quite a knockout and sure scream you. Thank, cutie. Winnie smirked teasingly with crossed arms as her hips swaying sideways to the beats, hey, do you want to D? Hey, gang. Wendy approached the group with a wave. Wearing a tight purple dress with long slits at side and V-cut. Wow, you look beautiful. The blonde whistled at her appearance. And you look hot. The giggling redhead glanced up and down at his appearance. He was wearing buttoned shirt with orange pocket and black pant. What did you guys think of the Fireflies show? We really enjoy it. Sabella replied with clasped hands. The shapes they made were very beautiful, it really take my breath away. The other agreed with her in their own ways, thank you for the show. You're welcome. Wendy grinned before she turned to Nar. Yuto as she jabbed her thumb at the dance floor, hey, wanna dance with me? Yeah, I'd love to. Naruto grinned. Great. The grinning redhead take his hand then lead him to the dance floor as his friends stare on. Few of them have twitching eyebrows because this new girl just stole the first dance from them. I never get a chance to thank you for throwing a great party. Naruto said to Wendy as they danced, thank, Wendistein. For the awesome party. No problem. Wendy giggled bashfully as they slowly moved their heads close to each other. Naruto, I am. She glanced at his lips with blush as her head kept moving toward him, like crazily scared right now. Maybe that's a good thing. He said before he kissed her on lips and she kissed back. At same time, a armor suit pop up to inform the father-daughter vampires that Naruto and Wendistein are kissing and the furious vampires flew over to the teenagers, swiftly separate them as they glowered over the redhead. How could you? Dracula whispered to Wendy furiously. After I shared my pain with you. And you know how I feel about that. Mavis hissed lowly, they both thought that Wendy kissed Naruto first instead of other way. But, Wendy Ghoul. Pet at the furious vampires before Naruto step in front of her. Mom, Grandpa, it was just a kiss. Naruto defended. No, you're not allowed to kiss. The vampiress half shouted. Mom, I'm allowed to do things. The blonde talked back. I'm not 8 anymore. I'm allowed to like people or do things like, he think for few seconds, go see the world and meet humans. What? Mavis gasped in pure shock with her father, the world. You want to meet humans? The music stopped immediately as the monsters turned to them in shock and bewilder. No. Are you crazy? After what they did to you? No. You have to stay here. Where you are safe from the evil filthy humans and… Mom, I'm a human. Naruto cut in, a good one, and that means there must be other good humans out there. Maybe I can give the humans another chance. I can learn and see things, you know, how to roll with it like Wendistein does. No, you can't leave and meet humans. The vampiress yelled, I want you to stay here with us, the monsters. Humans and monsters can't get along because of their hatred. Maybe you and everyone can make them see that we can get along. He replied, and everyone can see that you, a vampire, have been raising me, a human, well. No, that isn't possible. Mavis grabbed her son's hands with shaking head, fighting her tears back. You can't be sure about that. Naruto said, it's all in how you present yourself. Maybe you'll see that humans and monsters are no different from each other, only on outside. No, that won't make a difference. She yelled loudly. How do you know? He said back. Because it just won't. Mavis shouted. Why? Why won't it? Naruto asked. Because I'm your mom. She yelled, and I know what's best for you. You have to stay in this castle for the rest of. But, Mom, he half shouted. That's enough, Naruto. Mavis shouted furiously and in moment of heat, she slapped him before she gasped horrific in realization with everyone. Oh. The widen-eyed vampiress covered her mouth with hand. As her son looked at her shocked with hand on his cheek. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. Mom, it's okay. Naruto was about to ease his mother's worries. He understand it was in a moment of heat and not on purpose because she was doing it out of love, but something happened. MMMNF. Quasimodo rolled into the area on a cart by his pet rat. Esmeralda, with finger up his nose, seemed to be frozen. MMPH. Oh, Dracula gulped under his breath. Oil. Murray guessed what the frozen hunchback was trying to say. English please. Eunice crossed her arms with a huff as the hunchback kept saying something muffling. Your voice is really annoying. Wait, I speak frozen. The fly monster approached the frozen chef to translate. He says, Dracula has brought a human into the hotel. The monsters gasped before they paused for a moment. Do you mean Naruto? Wayne lifted his index finger up. We already know that. He says, another human. Fly said, and the monsters gasped again. Another human. The female gremlin cried in fear. Stay close. Pookie. The male gremlin hugged her. He says, there is Z human. The fly monster translated the frozen chef's muffled speech and Wendy attempt to sneak out Thrug. The back doors, but it was blocked by growing rat as the monsters gasped at the sight. Wendestein's not a human. Frank lifted his right arm up. She's my right arm's cousin. He pointed at the chef. He's lying. Yeah, and why is he picking his nose? Griffin pointed out. He says, it's a long story. Fly answered. Hey, Wendy cried out as Esmeralda ran amok all over her face and hair. No. No. Get off me. Ew. The rat somehow washed her makeup clean, then pushes the wig off. He says, behold Z human. The fly monster gestured to the sheepish redhead, and most screaming monsters run around in panic. You're, Naruto get closer to Wendy as she looked guilty, you're a human. Yes. Wendy looked down. I'm so sorry, I don't care. The blonde suddenly hugged her as he whispered into her ear, I still want to be with you. Really? The grinning redhead said with relief, and she was about to hug back until she noticed Mavis look at them with worries and sadness as Dracula looked very worried. She remembers everything they told her about, and she make a decision with heavy heart. Well, too bad. She stepped back away from Naruto. Cause I don't want to be with you, because your family and friends are monsters and I hate monsters. Wah. Naruto looked at her strangely. Why did she said that when she was chill with everyone? Unless. Goodbye. Wendy walked away from him, then scare Murray with thrusting gesture. Please. Don't hurt me. Murray covered his head with high-pitched scream, and the redhead give the blonde one last look before she left the area and out of the hotel. Naruto, Mav, is attempted to comfort her son with Dracula, but the blonde turned to face them with heartbroken expression. This is all your fault. He yelled at them before he flee into the castle, and most upset Mons. Ters looked at the vampires, then leave the room. We're getting out of here. A monster grunted. I am never coming back here. Human free. What a rip. I thought I smelled a human. Oh yeah, ice machine. Also broken. The guilty vampires slowly exchange looks. Oh, here they come. Count Crocula and Mini Croc Vis. The shrunken head said as the vampires approached the door, I'm just glad my eyes are stitched shut. Cause I don't even want to. Mavis opened the door and they enter the bedroom. Naruto, sweetie, are you in there? Mavis asked until her eyes land on her son lying in his bed with an old book. Naruto. Is there anything I can do, Naruto? Dracula asked worriedly. Anything, Grandpa. Naruto muttered softly. Yes, of course, Sonny, anything. The vampire replied as his daughter nodded rapidly. Will you erase my mind? The blonde said sadly. No. The vampiress waved her hands as her father agreed with her. No, I can't let your grandpa do that. There's too much I want you to remember. You're right, Mom. Naruto muttered, the humans are evil, it's in their nature, and I'm a black sheep. Sweetie, there are so many monster girls. Mavis tried to come up with something to comfort him. You're so young too. What's that? Dracula noticed the old book. What are you reading? He picked up and both vampires read it. It's Grandma's book. The blonde sighed sadly. Owen's gift from last year. He sighed again as soon as they finished read the book. I thought we zinged. Why you and Wendy? Both Mavis and Dracula gasped. I guess it was just me. Naruto slowly pulled blanket over his head. But you should be happy, Mom, Grandpa, there's no reason for me to leave. I'm more safe here, far away from everything. I'm just like you two now, please go away, I want to be alone. Both vampires slowly exit the room. What have I done? Mavis muttered. Martha, what have I done? Dracula said at same time before they looked to each other again. The guests demand the slow movin' workers to check them out until Dracula appear with his daughter. Friends, please, stop. It's too late, Rat-Bat. Eunice huffed. Please, I'm begging you. Dracula pleaded. We need you to help us find Wendy. Mavis said. The human girl. Wayne said, she could have killed us. She touched my guitar. Murray said, she put her hand in my mouth to see if it would disappear. Griffin said, does it? Toru asked out of curiosity. Yes. The invisible man answered. She let me eat her scooter. The elderly gremlin said as the crowd gasped, I know I lied. We were wrong. The older vampire said, but you have to believe this. Wendy wasn't a bad guy. The truth is, I don't even know if humans are bad anymore. He looked over to Frankenstein's monster. Frank, come on, buddy. You understand. He's not talking to you. Eunice said. First you tell us humans, but Naruto, are bad, now they're good. What else? Up is down, cold is hot, gremlins don't smell. Hey. Frank spoke up. I really like Wendy, cousin or no. She told fun stories. I think they zinged. Mavis looked down. Naruto and Wendy. What? Several voices can be heard. They zinged. Both Wayne and Wanda yelled in surprise with everyone else. But we got in the way. Dracula sighed with his daughter. You only zing once in your life. Frank said with his index finger up. Oi, now you're short-circuiting. Eunice said. I don't care. The Frankenstein's monster said to her before he turned back to the vampires, well, what are doing? Let's get Johnny. Come on. Yeah, let's do it. Murray agreed with raised fist, come on. Okay, where are we going? Griffin asked after agreed to it. The human world, before Wendy's gone forever. The older vampire said. But what about the sun? Wayne asked. I don't know. Dracula walked toward the front door with his daughter. We'll just have to roll. They just rolls. The mummy followed them out with his friends, rollability. In the woods, the group follows a trail of footprints. So we follow her boot prints. Dracula said. When they run out, that's where you come in, Wayne. Me. Wayne blinked. There. Mavis pointed at something in bush and the older vampire glanced at the item to see a familiar shirt. Yes. I knew something would fall out of that backpack. The older vampire picked it up before he accidentally take a whiff from it, youch. He held his nose, that stinks. He tossed it to the werewolf, work your magic. Wait, you want me to track the smell? The werewolf asked before he shake his head, number. My sniffing tracking days are way behind me. He pointed at his nose, do you know how many diapers have changed? How many number 2s have destroyed this thing? But, he whistled loudly before his children show up in frenzy around his legs, hey. Take it easy. Watch it. Sit. He held the shirt out. Smell. I said smell. Not me, the shirt. The shirt. Do any of your kids still respect you? Dracula asked. Give me a second. Wayne hummed, oh, yeah. Winnie. Front and center. I said do any of your kids still respect you? The older vampire repeated before the goth werewolf appeared with annoyed expression. What the fuck do you want, old man? Winnie barked. Language, young miss. The father of werewolves scolded as she flipped him off. Please smell this shirt, we need to find Wendy. The goth werewolf looked at the shirt dirty for few moments before she huffed, the things she does for her best friend and she want to get some answers. She snatched the shirt to smell it, she got into a car. 86 Fiat. She pointed to a certain direction, it needs a little transmission work, but otherwise okay. It drove through town to the airport. Flight 497, 8 a.m., departure. That's in 15 minutes. Seat 23A. She ordered the red meat meal. Okay, thank you, cutie. Wayne said. Fuck off. Winnie turned to lead her siblings away from the group. Let's go back to old lady. Hurry. Mavis ran off with the group. They reach a city named Transylvania and the monsters encountered the humans for first time. They were so confusing why everyone were dressing up like certain monsters. Monster Festival. Wayne looked at the flyer weirdly, what's a monster festival? Did they know we were coming? Murray asked. They like us, Frank said oddly before he grinned. Really? Excuse me. Dracula called out to nearby human, who dress up like him. Do you know the best way to the airport? Are that what all humans look like? Mavis looked around bewilderedly as her father talked to the human before the vampire talked to his friends about how to reveal themselves to the humans, and she noticed something else. A neat poster. What's that? The vampiress looked closer with widened eyes. The poster had picture of her son when he was little and the text read, Memorial Vigil. Oh, that's the memorial vigil for Naruto. The same human walked over to her after the monsters finally revealed themselves to the exciting humans. We do that every years after the monster festival so we don't forget him. Why? She asked confusingly. You don't know. The man said as she shook her head. It's a very sad tale. There was some crazed cult led by a racist man around here many years ago. Cult believe in purity, and that the mixed races will taint the pure humanity, turning everyone into demons, so they want to save the purebreds by killing any interracial couples they come across. They kidnapped mixed children to cleanse them by holding them in small cages, starving them, then beat them. What they did was very sickening. He sighed sadly. By the time when the police got there, they were able to save every child. The man looked at the poster, but one. The leader of this cult bragged about how they torture this poor boy, then dump him in woods where no one can find him again. His parents dead when he was 4. The man answered sadly. They didn't see it coming because they were shot down from behind. And the cult? Mavis muttered slowly. Gone, completely. The man answered. The leader and his top followers have been executed for their crimes, the rest are sentenced for life. I heard that most of them are dead, either from inmates' attacks or suicide. So they won't come back? She asked slowly. Yup, for good. The man nodded before he sighed again. Sometime I wonder if we should have saved this poor boy in time. He's alive, Mavis said. What? The man turned to her with a blink. He's alive, she said. I come across him many years ago and we nursed him back to health. He's my son, I adopted him. He's alive, the man said before a big smile broke out across his face. He's alive. And you're his mother. He turned to the crowd. Guys. This vampire lady told me she found Naruto and adopted him. He's alive. The humans suddenly cheered at the good news. Oh, thank you, Naruto's vampire mama, for the best news. Mavis blinked at the humans bewilderedly. I guess, I was wrong about humans after all. Listen, guys. Griffin hollered over to everyone. Drax's daughter's son's in love, and they've got to get to the airport. And they can't get through this crowd. Why doesn't they fly? Someone asked. The sun, you idiot. Another person hollered. They're vampires. That's right. Dracula nodded. Thank you, monster nerd. So, people, if you really are our friends, clear a path for them. Murray called out. Okay. The man walked into his place. All Draculas, line up. Blah, blah, blah. The Draculas lined up. Everyone else, lift the capes. Protect our friends. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone lift their capes up over their heads. It's all for you, buddies. He turned back to them. Go ahead. Both real vampires looked at each other before they ran under the tunnel of capes as the humans rooted for them. Daddy, Mavis whispered to him. I know, honey. Dracula smiled gently. Their views of humans have been changed. Naruto was moping on the stairs and his friends tried to cheer him up. Do you want me to make you your favorite soup? Laguna asked. Ramen. Miso soup, right. No thank. Naruto muttered. What do you get if you cross a vampire with a snowman? Sabella tell him a joke to cheer him up. Frostbite. Ha, the blonde muttered. Wanna go on a prank spree or try to find me hiding somewhere without clothes? Toru asked, drawing couple looks from her girlfriends. How about we take a midnight run and howl to the moon? Winnie sucked her bubble gum in. It's morning. Naruto pointed out. Want to go get ice cream and eat them all? Frankie suggested, and Naruto was about to say something until Mavis and Dracula enter the castle with burnt appearance. Mom, Grandpa. The blonde quickly ran over to them. What happened? We're fine, Dracula groaned out, just little sunburnt. Sweetie, Mavis placed her hands on her worried son's shoulders. I always thought the worst thing ever would be seeing you go. She bit her lower lip, but the worst is seeing you unhappy. Naruto, I want you to live your life. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. Naruto sighed and he was about to say more until his mother cut him off. You know, I and your grandpa haven't give you your birthday present. The vampire SS stepped back with a gentle smile as Dracula showed Naruto a large orange, black and red backpack with hotel's logo. What do I need this for? The blonde asked them confusingly as the guests gathered in front of them. Oh, it comes with an accessory. Dracula turned the backpack around to reveal Wendy, attaching to the backpack's straps with a smile. Hi. Wendy lifted her hand up. Wendistein, Naruto said in shock. It's Wendy. The redhead put her feet back down on ground. Why are you back? He asked. Cuz, Wendy tucked hair behind her ear with a blush. You're my Zing, Naruto. I'm your Zing, Naruto said surprised. But, you told me you hate monsters. Yeah, well, I was afraid your mom was going to suck all the blood out of my body if I didn't say that. The redhead giggled sheepishly. I wouldn't have. Mavis laughed nervously. She slumped her shoulders. No, she's right, I would have done that. Dracula believed he would do the same thing in her place if someone were pinning for his little girl. Mom. The blonde looked at her. I was wrong, lamb chops. The vampiress blushed embarrassingly. Do you really mean it, Mom? Naruto slowly smiled to her. Go make your own paradise. Avis smiled back and the blonde turned to the redhead. So, Wendy smiled timidly, can we try that kiss over again? We can. The blonde smiled and they leaned in, about to kiss but, Mavis snarled in front. Oh. F them with her monster face and the teenagers stare at her blankly. I'm sorry. The embarrassed vampiress held her hands down in front of her with a sheepish giggle. Gee go do your thing, she back. Pedaled away from them to her father's side, hold me back. Yes, honeynut. Dracula replied. Let's try again. The smiling redhead turned back to Naruto and they were about to kiss but. Hold it. Innie pulled Naruto back with her arm around his neck as she looked at the redhead with narrowed eyes. You said you zinged with him. Yeah, Wendy replied honestly. I zinged with him. The werewolf said firmly. What? Almost everyone cried out. Wait, what? Naruto blinked rapidly together with Wendy. When? The day we first met. Winnie said, and since then, I always like you. The blonde uttered. Hey. Toru suddenly jumped onto Naruto's back with her arms around his stomach. He's my Zing, mine. That is kinda awkward because I also zing with him. Laguna appeared at Naruto's other side. I have admitted that I zing when we collided at our first meeting. Sabella said. I zing him too. Frankie raised her hand up and almost everyone looked over to Mokunai, who was filing her nails before she looked up to them with raised eyebrow. Yeah, we zinged. Mokunai said nonchalantly, so what? So what? So what? The sea monster stuttered to her mummy friend, we zinged with him, which mean? He have to pick one of us and you're saying so what? Why does he have to pick? The mummy arched her brow at them weirdly, we all zinged with him so that mean we share him. Whoa, baby girl, times have changed since we have been entombed. Murray walked up to his daughter with index finger up and the daughter of mummy just held her hand up to him in a talk to the hand gesture before he pull a U-turn then walk away with his finger up. You're right, baby girl, daddy have to stay out of this one. Carry on. It's simple, he'll pick everyone and we have our happy ending. Mokunai said. I don't mind sharing him with you girls. You're my ghoul friends, even the human girl. She resumed filing her nails, so I'm going to say it again, so what? Let's share him. That's crossing, Naruto said until someone cut him off. Okay. Winnie shrugged her shoulders with a popped gum. Well, I don't mind, give it a try. Frankie tapped her chin. Same here. Laguna agreed with the daughter of Frankenstein's monster. Sure. As long as I get piece of my stud. Toru said bubbly. I don't mind sharing him with everyone as long as we're happy. Sabella smiled and the girls looked over to the redhead as the blonde gawked at them. Him, with you all. Wendy blinked before she suddenly gave them a thumb up with easygoing grin, I'm totally in. Wah, the blonde dropped his jaw to floor with widened eyes. Hey, I like to roll with things, you know. The grinning redhead shrugged her shoulders, and I have a good feeling that things will get more steamy and fun one day. She wiggled her eyebrows at him, can't wait for it. Can I have a say in th? Naruto slowly lifted his finger up. No. Almost all of his friends said before Winnie dragged him toward the party room. Come on, you still owe us a dance. Party's back on. Wendy followed them with a laugh and the gawking guests and relatives stared at the group as they enter the room before the guests slowly exchange look with each other then shrug their shoulders. Decide to join the party. Didn't see that one coming. Griffin said stunningly. I thought you only zing once in lifetime. Frank muttered amazingly. Guess times have changed ag. Ain, the invisible man said before he hear collective of thuds and he turn around to see his friends and Mavis fainted on the floor. Ooh, boy. No. Mavis suddenly sit up with a screech before she run toward the room. Get your hands off my innocent baby. Ooh boy. Griffin shook his head before he went over to wake his fainted friends up while the vampiress tried to stop the girls from sinking their hands into her little boy. She is so not ready for that. Mavis was having dinner with Dracula and Naruto, and his 7 wives. It had been about 2 years after Wendy came to the hotel and the girls somehow make the bizarre relationships work before they get married in a largest marriage ceremony ever. Mavis was glad that her son decides to stay here with his wives but she still has some hard time accepting this situation. The ham is really good. Mavis said to Wendy, thank you for cooking us dinner tonight. Thank and welcome. Wendy grinned and she turned to face Naruto across the tab. Before she lightly nod her head toward the vampires with animated eyes as the blonde glanced between her and others with animated eyes as if they were having a mental conversation. Naruto swallowed his foods as he set his fork aside before he looked over to his mother and grandpa. Mom, Grandpa, I have something to tell you too. What is it? Mavis takes a bite of her ham, chewing it. I'm going to be a dad. The blonde gave them a grin and the vampiress suddenly spit ham all over her father out of shock as the older vampire gaped at the news with widened eyes. WWWHO. The vampiress coughed. Ed roughly before she takes a long sip of her water to wash the foods down. Sabella, Wendy and Winnie. Naruto answered as the said women lifted their hands up and his mother once again spit all over her shocked father's face. With water this time. Wah. Mavis stuttered bewildered before she'd pass out face down in her dinner. Well, that went well. Winnie took a bite of her meat calmly as if her mother-in-law didn't pass out and several women nodded in agreement. Mostly. Frankie glanced at the frozen grandpa-in-law worriedly, is he okay? As soon as she finished her question, the VA Empire fall back onto the floor with his legs up. Yes, he's fine. Mokunai replied curtly. Naruto and his 4 wives were tending to 3 heavy pregnant women, who were lying in a giant bed. Do you want me to get you something? He asked. Yeah, get me a hot dog rolled in cheese pizza with hot chocolate sauce. Wendy grinned. Pickles dipped in chocolate and melted cheese. Winnie replied. Strawberry ice creams. 2 scoops with pickle juice and hard-boiled eggs. Sabella smiled. Please. You want? Naruto blinked owlishly. What? But they're kinda unhaya. Go get us the foods. The pregnant wives yelled at their yelping husband. Why yes, dears. The blonde quickly rushed to fetch their bizarre orders. Gee, I wonder what kind of weird food craving I will have one day, Toru muttered wearily and Laguna nodded at that. Mavis waited with bated breath as she glanced at the doors few times and her father were pacing back and forth in hallway. What's taking them so long? Dracula asked worriedly, did something happen? Did they? Dad. Relax. Mavis said nervously, it's taking longer because the girls have labor almost at same time and if anything happened, they'll let us know. But why do we have to wait out here? The older vampire asked before he gazed to hanging uniform. Because they want it to be surprise. The vampiress replied, and don't think about it, Dad. The stuttering vampire was trying to deny something until they hear the doors opening and they look over to see Naruto poking his head out. Guys, they're here. Naruto grinned, come and see them. The eager vampires entered tea delivery room and the first thing they see is 4 of Naruto's wives gushing over bundles in the arms of 3 tried-now mothers. Let me introduce you to our children from oldest to young, starting with Winnie. He gestured to the werewolf as she showed them a triplet, a girl and 2 boys. Winter, Shaw and Lupin. Winter, the girl, and Shaw appear to be full werewolf and Lupin appear to be mix. Ed between human and werewolf because he have some furs and small baby fangs. Each child have brown hairs with blue eyes, Winter have a single streak of blonde hair. Meet Kate. Wendy smiled down to her newborn daughter, rocking her gently. Kate has turf of fiery colored hair, green eyes and bit of freckles. And Dennis. Sabella glanced at her son happily and Dracula looked over him to see the child look so much like a human and less vampire. The baby boy has purple turf of hair and blue eyes. Must be a late fanger. Dracula worried to himself. I can't decide which one to hold first. Mavis melts at the sight of her grandchildren and her son just smile at his growing family. Daddy, why do you and mommies have to go? Naruto looked down to Kate, a 4-year-old girl in Jack Lumber-like outfit with blue overall. As she pouted up to him while he was packing his luggage with his wives, because we're just visiting your grandpa for couple days and it'll be very boring for you kids. Naruto patted her head with a light chuckle. Beside, your grandma and great-grandpa are going to take care of you and your siblings so it'll be more fun than sitting around in Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is not boring. Kate whined. Over there, I can kick gnomes all I want and it's okay. Yeah, Shaw pop out under the bed, their best chew toys. Right next to mini golf people. Lupin Pak. His head out with some dust bunnies in his hair, both wearing black shirt with shorts. Maybe during summer. Wendy smirked amusingly at the kids. I really hope you don't encounter our children too. Go loose on these poor creatures when they come. Frankie looked at the redhead slightly concerned. She now have a small bump in her stomach. PFF'd, know her, she will go ahead and do it. Laguna snorted amusingly. Appear to be 4 months pregnant. Until we tell our children not to do it. Mokunai replied flatly, supporting a large bump and it seems that she is about 7 to 8 months pregnant. Oh, and Winter is playing rough with Dennis again. Winter, get off your brother. Winnie huffed at the tussling children and Winter hop off Dennis right away. No fair, I was winning. Dennis sit up with a pout. Yes, you were but we need you kids to be careful around us so your new brothers and sisters won't get hurt if you accidentally push someone like Toru Mama down. Sabella patted her son's head with a soft tone. She's about due in few weeks. Yup, and I can't wait to spoil my first baby rotten. Toru giggled and the children stare up at the invisible woman's voice, since they can't even see her because she wasn't wearing anything right now. Wait, how can you and we see the baby when it comes? Winter pointed at Toru's direction curiously. Wait until the baby come and we'll know. Naruto ruffled his werewolf daughter's hair. The family don't know if Toru's child will be invisible or visible until the due date. We want you kids to be good to your grandma and great-grandpa while we're gone. Can you promise us that? Yes, Daddy. The children answered in their own way. The next few days were blurry and full of chaos because of few certain events. First, Naruto found out through an internet video that Dracula tried to teach Dennis how to fly by throwing him off the tallest platform in front of his friends and didn't do anything while the little boy kept falling. The vampire dive at last minute to save his great-grandson, only have the boy rescued by Mavis. Naruto and his wives immediately went home the very next day and he chewed his mother and grandpa out for doing this stunt. Even Sabella get involved because that is her son. Naruto told them that he'll move out with his family so the children can be safer and suddenly drop the bombshell that he invited Vlad, his great-grandpa who he have heard about, to meet his great-great-grandchildren for the first time at their birthday party. Dracula panicked because his father wasn't very big on humans. Mavis was freaking out that her son is going to leave for good. The first meeting between Vlad and Naruto's family didn't went well at first until the elder vampire have a change of heart when Bala attempted to attack the children, which awakened Dennis' vampire side, and shrink the bat monster to tiny size, allow the werewolves pup playing with Bala. Vlad decided to accept Naruto as his great G. Ranson because Dracula and Mavis had stand up to him and did their best to change his views on humans. Naruto also changed his mind to stay at the hotel and raise his family, much to Mavis, Dracula's and most wives' joy. 2 years have passed and Naruto's family has grown slightly. Mokunai have a mummy twin boy and girl named Minis and Neferet, Toru have an invisible son named Riku, Frankie have a daughter named Mary, who is Frankenstein's monster and a splitting image of her mother when she was little but with blonde and white hair, and Laguna also have daughter named Coral, who is a half-human, half-sea monster. Naruto's family weren't the only one that grow in number because Dracula somehow end up falling in love with Erika, a human captain, from a cruise trip that Mavis have surprised everyone for their vacation. Honestly, Naruto don't know enough details because he was too focused with his children and there was a weird moment when the ship was attacked by Kraken, the Rees. On why it was weird because Wendy somehow saved everyone by playing a Macarena song. Again, Naruto don't remember much about it and do not know enough details. Right now, Naruto quietly step out int. The hallway as he slowly closed the nursery room while looking at his sleeping younger children and the door closed with a quiet click before he returned to his bedroom. You finally put them down to sleep? Sabella asked her husband with a smile, sitting on edge of bed while the other women were changing into their nightwear attire. Thanks for watching guys. Hope you all are enjoyed this video. If you do please leave a like, share and subscribe, also don't forget to support author of this fanfic. So let's end this video here. Until then, see you in next video.